it's so exciting to get motivation. It is. You go and see a motivational speaker, you are moved. That energy is intoxicating, right? You almost get this high when you feel this motivation, but then you have to do little daily actions, and the novelty of the first excitement, that first buzz of your aha moment goes away. And people think, oh, because my motivation went away, I shouldn't be moving forward on this, or maybe I need a different idea. And people get confused. They think if I am not motivated, then I should not be moving forward. The truth is, it is the movement that creates the motivation. It's the momentum of little steps forward that maintain that motivation. Welcome to the Be Your Own Life Coach podcast, where you master your mind and coach your own comeback. You are the hero, you are the guide, and you will learn to architect your life from the inside. I'm your host, Bretagne Stowe, joined by my sister and co-host, Anike Wilder. Enjoy the show. Anike, we have wrapped up our Fear series, and I'm so excited because now we're jumping into our motivation series. To kick us off, we're talking Ikigai. What is Ikigai? I'm hoping you can tell our listeners, because you and I talk about Ikigai pretty often, and it's a Japanese belief. So will you explain what Ikigai is, what it means, break it down for us?
Yes, and I love the Japanese language. There's actually a lot of Japanese words that we use in the English language and we don't even realize, but Ikigai is a really good one. If you imagine, well, it translates into the reason for getting up in the morning, your reason for living, your reason for being. And so what is motivating you to get up in the morning? Is it your job, your career? Is it your kids? Like what is your Ikigai? And so how we figure out your Ikigai or your reason for being, you imagine a Venn diagram. So 4 circles. And in the top circle, you have all the things that you've listed of what you love to do. This can be anything that you love to do. It could also be the people that you love, like anything that you love in that circle. Then on the right, it'll be anything that you're good at. These are your talents. And maybe you don't love them, but maybe you just are good at them. Write them all down. Then the circle on the bottom is, what does the world need? And the world has a lack and it has a surplus, but what you have to find those blind spots of, like, what could the world need? And this could be anything. It doesn't have to be like specifically what you can offer, but it can also be what you can offer. So I just want you to think about anything the world needs. And then in the last circle is what you can get paid to do. And another way of looking at it is the things that you love is your passion, the things that you are good at are your talents, the things that you can get paid to do is your profession, and the things that the world needs are your mission. And all of those overlapping, these 4 circles, make a circle in the middle, and that is your Ikigai.
Beautiful. I love the way you broke that down. So your Ikigai, your reason for being, the reason why you wake up in the morning, can help you find your purpose. So many of us in this life are looking for purpose, and we think our purpose lives with, oh, I'm a mom, so that is my purpose, or I'm a pharmacy technician and that is my purpose. And your purpose may be your profession, it may not be, but your Ikigai can help you understand your purpose and understand if it is something you can get paid for, which, how cool would it be to get paid for this thing that you love to do, that also the world needs, that you're also really good at?
Yeah, it's actually really exciting. It's a really cathartic exercise for anyone to do. So, what are some little questions that you could ask, or someone could ask themselves to kind of help them get started on this?
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is important to do in your self-reflection of what is your purpose, what is your Ikigai, if you're just starting from scratch, let's look back and see if there is a time in your life, a time in your day where you lose track of time. And this is important because when you lose track of time, you're not counting the minutes or the hours until this task is done. You are in what I call a flow state. In Krav Maga and in other martial arts, your flow state is your most powerful. You are the most smooth, you are the most strong, you are the most clean, and you are the most proficient in what you're doing, and you're just flowing. You're like water. Bruce Lee always says, be like water. So when you lose track of time, you are often in a flow state. So ask yourself, do you find yourself in a flow state when you are creating? Maybe it's not as specific as writing or painting, but when you're creating something, or are you in a flow state when you're moving your body, when you're speaking in front of people? This can help get some of those juices going before you ever try to fill out your Venn diagram. And then another thing that can be helpful is ask yourself, what is something you've always been curious about? Now, I know you and I, Annika, are curious about physics. That doesn't mean you and I are going to become physicists, right?
We could.
We could. But what is something that you've been drawn to or curious or you've always come back to? For me, physical fitness has always been a big foundational pillar in my life, whether it be martial arts or it be running or it be lifting or yoga. I am just drawn to moving my body. And so asking yourself, what is something you're drawn to or you're curious about can also help you get those juices going as you build your Venn diagram. So that is Ikigai. And we'll probably revisit Ikigai in other episodes, but we want to start with this understanding your purpose. And once you find your purpose, say you have your Ikigai. Annika, have you done the Ikigai exercise recently?
Oh, I do it. I do it all the time. So I did it years ago. I've done it maybe 3 or 4 times because, fear, doubt, slips in every once in a while. And so I do this exercise over and over. Like, is this really what I want? And just, it's a great self-reflection exercise. So yeah, I think I did it maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, honestly.
Perfect. So when your motivation slips, you can do this Ikigai exercise again and again. But sometimes your motivation fades and you don't know why. So finding your Ikigai is great. It's like finding the seed and planting it, but it's the daily watering, the daily nourishment and sunshine and cultivation that keeps that motivation alive. Why do you think sometimes our motivation, you talked about fear a little bit, losing sight. What are some other things that you think come up at why people lose their Ikigai or their motivation fades?
I think it's 2 reasons. So the first one is they literally lose sight, literally are not looking at their Ikigai. They don't have it on a vision board. They don't have an affirmation. They're not repeating an affirmation. They are losing sight of their target. And once you do that, you're not focused on it, because where your focus goes, energy flows. If you're not focused on your Ikigai, it's very easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to scroll social media. It's easy to take care of kids that need you more. It's easy to do the mundane tasks because you're not laser focused on what you really want, and that's your Ikigai. It has to be your target. That has to be in your visual at all times. Mine's on my phone. I also have an affirmation I repeat to myself. So that's one, is you literally lose sight of it. Two is habits. It's habits. And sometimes life happens to us. Like, say you were in the habit of going to the gym every day, but then you got the flu and you were in bed for a week. You lost the habit, and it's so hard to get the ball rolling, speaking of physics, when you're out of the habit. And so it's you can lose it. And so then you have to go back to your laser focus and like, hey, I have to start up the habit again. What's my Ikigai? And realign yourself over and over. It's like a constant, like getting bumpers, like at a bowling alley, like kind of nudging yourself towards the goal so you can get that bullseye or get that strike.
Yes. So what I'm hearing is being intentional. If you are not intentional by keeping it in sight and in focus, both physically in focus and also in your mind, and creating a path forward and allowing these distractions to fade. So if you're not being intentional, then yes, absolutely, you'll use motivation. And back to physics, I think that's another reason is it's so exciting to get motivation. It is. You go and see a motivational speaker, you are moved, that energy is intoxicating, right? You almost get this high when you feel this motivation, but then you have to do little daily actions, and the novelty of the first excitement, that first buzz of your aha moment goes away. And people think, oh, because my motivation went away, I shouldn't be moving forward on this, or maybe I need a different idea. And people get confused. They think if I am not motivated, then I should not be moving forward. The truth is, it is the movement that creates the motivation. It's the momentum of little steps forward that maintain that motivation. And so if you're losing your connection to your why, if you're losing sight, there are some little things that you can do. You can do the Ikigai exercise every few months, writing your goals down. I have a screenshot of my yearly goals on my phone. I look at it every day. Having a mantra or an affirmation that you say, a vision board, and ask yourself, what is one thing that you can do today towards your vision? And so journaling this down in the morning, just a little bit of a coaching tip, writing down your Ikigai in the morning, and then one person that would benefit from you living your purpose. And what's one thing you're going to do today to move forward? I would also add, what is one thing you're willing to sacrifice for this Ikigai?
I think you hit on two really good points. Sacrifice is huge because people have all this passion, this motivation, they have like this purpose and this mission in their life that they want to change the world, but then they're still eating out every day. They're going to every single birthday party. They're going to they're sleeping in, they are working out 3 times a day, like they're having this lavish lifestyle. And they're like, well, why isn't my dream coming true? And it's like, well, what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? Something's got to give. And I'm not saying sacrifice your health or sleep. I actually think you should prioritize those things because it'll give you more energy to fulfill your purpose. But if you are not willing to give up something, saying no to the fun things so you can focus on something that's more important, then you're going to have a much slower growth, or you're not going to get there at all.
Yeah, saying no, right? Protecting your boundaries, protecting your energy. I always ask myself when I get invited to do something, do I want to go? Do I want to do this thing? If I don't, then the easy answer is no. But sometimes we feel this pressure to say yes, right? To show up because they're my friend and they show up for me. And I know that they're alone this weekend. And so I should be there for them. And yes, be a good friend, show up. But are you being a good friend to yourself? Are you showing up for your dreams the way you show up for everybody else? And so having some daily practices, having some discipline versus just focusing on motivation will help you get there. One of the people I follow is Brian Kight. And Brian Kight is the son of Tim Kight, who created Focus 3. And Brian Kight says, discipline is the shortcut. It's so easy. We feel like discipline is restrictive, right? I need freedom. I need the ability to do whatever I want, whenever I want. But if I don't time block, if I don't create some discipline in my schedule, then all this freedom of time does me no good, right? So when motivation fades, discipline steps in. And I was hoping we could get into the difference between motivation, that very exciting spark, and discipline, which is consistent action.
Mm-hmm. And I think people confuse motivation with inspiration because we can feel very inspired in the moment. Like you said, you're going to a conference, you're listening to a podcast or whatever it is. It is like a spark. And it's like, oh, I'm feeling so inspired. But then you leave and real life happens. Like where, what do you do about it? Being inspired does nothing for us unless there's action, unless there's discipline. And so we can feel motivated. Motivation is this unpredictable, fleeting feeling, but it's not the action, even though it feels like action because you're like, I'm motivated. It's the precursor to action. It's not the action.
Yes, it's based on your mood and your emotions and these external forces. When discipline is actually this internal commitment to your values, to your purpose. And so some of the tools that people use to be motivated, to stay motivated is, speakers and pep talks and even podcasts and inspirational quotes. And they have their place, but that's one of the reasons why we always have a self-coaching segment on this podcast. We have actionable steps, right? Because it is in the routines and the habits and the accountability, creating systems that keep you from the distractions. And I will tell you, motivation is amazing, but motivation and trying to live in the energy of motivation is a distraction. I think this is important for people to understand. If you are constantly the student, constantly reading self-help books and watching self-help videos and reading and listening to self-help podcasts, but you never take a pen and paper and write some of the things down that you're learning or take action or change a habit or create a next step, then you are distracting yourself with the idea that you are creating change. And that is where the real difference is motivation is that inspiration, is that idea, but discipline is actually where the change takes place.
Yeah, and I think people kind of romanticize motivation a little bit, and they think like, "Oh, I'm just not motivated to work out. I'm not motivated to write in my book. I'm not motivated." And it's like almost like complaining, and they think it's this feeling that you're supposed to have all the time. But all these successful people, like, well, they must have more motivation. That's not true. It's a lie. We're not motivated to do a podcast every day. We're not motivated to write. We're not motivated. There's sometimes I just want to be left alone. I don't want to be on stage speaking, even though it's feel like it's a calling that I have in this life. Motivation is unreliable. And that's like what you said, discipline has to take its place. You have to do it anyway, whether you're motivated or not. You have to create the habit. And once you create habits, the discipline is easier. If you're in the habit of waking up every day at 6:30, whether you're motivated or not, you're going to get up because it's a habit. And then the habits create discipline. And so if you haven't read Atomic Habits, that's an amazing book to help you create actionable, small things that can help bring in discipline for long-term effects to get you to the finish line, because you can't rely on motivation. It's just too unreliable.
Yes, it is fleeting. Absolutely. And I think about how I have talked to some wives who have talked about their relationship and said, oh, I don't know if I love them anymore. I don't know if it's working anymore. And if they're waiting for this deep feeling of passion and love to show up before they show love and affection to their partner, then of course you're going to feel this wedge in your relationship. You're going to feel this wedge in your life. If you are waiting for this inspiration to come through, this motivation to come through, then you're never going to get anything done. Whenever I hear someone say, yeah, I'm not in the mood to work out, I'm not in the mood to write, I always say, do it anyways. Do it tired. Do it unmotivated. It's okay. Not every time you sit down to write or to build your business or to show up for your significant other are you going to feel this great love and passion and excitement. You're not. It's not realistic. Life is not a Disney movie. But I will tell you, when you show up anyways, you're not in the mood, when you're tired, when you're grumpy, it is those moments that create real change. You're actually changing your physiology by taking movement and moving forward when you don't want to. So it gets easier. It gets easier when you do the hard things. If you keep waiting for things to get easy, you'll never do anything. If you keep waiting to be ready to be pushed, you will never move. So that's why when it comes to, coaching yourself, it's really important to start your morning with some intentions. There are some ways that you can set your mindset and move forward, starting with breath work. Breath work is huge. We always talk about how great breath work is, visualization, affirmations, doing the Ikigai journaling that we had mentioned earlier, or doing one hard thing first. I have to tell you, and you know this, Anike, when I got into Krav Maga, I would go to the earliest class there was before work when I was still tired, not wanting to get out of bed. And in Krav Maga, you're doing self-defense moves. So sometimes you're getting punched in the face. Sometimes you're, bull in the ring. So you have multiple people trying to attack you with different weapons, and you have to defend for multiple people. And ultimately, you will drop your hands. You will miss a defense move and you will get hit. You will get punched. You'll get hit with the stick, whatever it is. And it hurts. I am telling you, it hurts. I love it so much, but it sucks. And the reason why I love doing Krav Maga early in the morning or lifting really heavy early in the morning is because it is hard. It is so hard that not only have I dropped my hands, gotten hit in the face and kind of shooken up, but I've gotten bruised. I've almost had black eyes. I've started crying. It is difficult sometimes when you don't keep your hands up and you're not prepared, or if you're trying to push to a new max, a new personal max when you're lifting weights. It is hard. And then the rest of the day comes. And maybe a call doesn't go the way you want, your kid screams at you, something happens with your car, and all of a sudden it's not as bad because you just remembered you got hit in the face, or you just bench pressed 150 pounds, or whatever it is. Do something hard first, and it will set the tone for the rest of the day.
I think that's super important. And I think I'd just add that you don't have to do all the things. Like we talk about, morning intention, breath work, ikigai, journaling, self-reflection. We could talk about exercise, meditation, time blocking. We could talk about meal prepping, sleeping. I mean, you don't have to do all the things. I think people get overwhelmed with analysis paralysis because they're thinking, well, I have to eat right, exercise, get enough sleep. I have to journal. I have to spend enough time with my kids. It's like, it's just too much. Just when you're starting out to creating the small disciplines, start small. Maybe just start with the hard thing and do nothing else. Like what you're saying, like just start with the hard thing. And maybe the hard thing for you is getting to bed on time, or maybe it's getting up in the morning to work out, or maybe it's calling, if you're in sales and making the first phone call is the hardest phone call. But then once you're in the rhythm, it gets easier. So I think the biggest message for me that I would want to say is you don't have to do all the things. And the people that motivate you, the people that you're looking at as mentors, they're probably doing all the things, but this is years of practice. Don't compare your day one to their day 100, right? And we do that too often, thinking we're falling short because we're not there yet, but they didn't get there until they started down here.
I'm so glad you said that. And I would just like to build on that. Not only just do one thing, but also maybe it's a fraction of one thing. Maybe you're not able to wake up early and go to the gym, but you can wake up early. Maybe you're not able to jump in an ice bath first thing in the morning, but I bet you could take a cool rag to your face. There are fractions. There's 1%, even on that first step. So how can you be 1% better? I don't want you to worry about 10% better. I don't even want you to worry about how you're going to change your life with the one thing, because that's big. How can you just do something really tiny in that first step? It reminds me of a quote. I love Bruce Lee. Mm-hmm. Bruce Lee talks about doing the right thing every day, over and over and over again. He says, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So whether that is one step or one baby step, Just do that tiny thing today and tomorrow and the next day, and you'll find that you will create real change and real discipline, and you won't need to wait for motivation anymore. This has been another episode of the Be Your Own Life Coach podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, subscribe and share the love. And remember the teachings of Lao Tzu. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Until next time, trust yourself, take the wisdom, take the breath, and take the next step.